Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Since this is episode number 300, I want to know, how are you really feeling?
Old. I just feel old.
Like, how so?
I feel like, well, first of all, this is the longest we've ever worked on anything.
Okay. This
So
one episode.
We haven't missed a week
Yeah.
of doing podcasts in almost 5 years, which is sort of nuts. And so I was looking back in preparation for this episode of like all our Instagram photos. I was trying to count up how many Pata shirts we had worn over the years.
As an exercise?
Yeah, I just like to know.
Keep your mind young.
Yeah, I'm like Rain Man. And I counted them up and it was 78 or whatever. But I was looking through and I saw an episode early on and I was just like, who is that person?
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. I'm not. No, it was
You
an
said you were
artist.
old. I don't know.
It was an artist that like was very of that time.
Wow. Really?
And I didn't recognize them on first impression. I mean, obviously I remember their name.
Yeah.
You know, what is the number 300, right? It's not different than 299, it's not different than 301. It's a number and it's a marker of time. It's just like, wow, I've been doing this one thing for a long time.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it in that respect. It is interesting to sort of see yourself age slightly on Instagram, but all in all, I agree. This episode is just like, 200 or 201 or 299.
I thought you were going to count through all of them.
Yeah. But for me, I look at 300 and I say, well, shouts to us for living by the tenets that we've always stood It's the Real on, which are consistency and quality.
Yeah, and I think that, we've been talking about this throughout the week, and you've been talking about specifically how we could have stopped numerous times, when an artist cancels or when...
Or how about when your equipment, shits out, I remember we had to replace the mixer one day when someone was coming over in an hour. I remember we used my old laptop, which would buzz just like it was going to blow up.
Yeah, and so you had to hit it like the Fonz.
Yeah, you sort of
during episodes.
Hope that it would keep going long enough to stay recording. We made it through moving apartments. We never stopped, and we treated it, whether we were getting paid or not,
Mostly not.
as a professional operation.
Don't say paid or not. Let's just say not.
Right, but you treat it like a professional operation, and it becomes one, and that's the answer to all the people who are on YouTube who are surprised when they just find out about us that we can get a guy like Cameron to come to our apartment, or we can get a guy like Jeezy to come to our apartment, or we can get a guy like Rick Ross to stop by our apartment and talk for an hour and a half. And
I just thought that we tricked everybody.
If there's anything that we can stand on, it's that we keep elevating and keep putting out dope content that lasts. Shout out to us for, in the face of a lot of obstacles, doing what a lot of people, I feel like, wouldn't do. And there's a lot of young podcasters out there who ask us very regularly, what's your best advice when you get started? And the answer is, don't stop.
Well, it's also just do it. You might have a 9 to 5. Do it at 6 o'clock.
You might have $30 microphones like we did when we started. You might have GarageBand, which we still use to this day. It's something to start. Don't care about the numbers. Don't care about whatever audience is there or not there or in your head or whatever. Just do it and keep doing it. Yeah. And eventually you'll get up to a number that has
some sort of meaning, because there's all these executives out there who are just looking for the next thing.
And hopefully that's you.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's us. We've been the next thing for a while, and we hope to become that next thing, and maybe it happens on episode 301. But it was important to us to get somebody up here for this round number, this number that has great meaning to whoever.
Can I just ask, are we going to celebrate for 350 as well? Because we did 200, we did 250.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't feel like 350 is a number that people care about.
Unless, and I'm very willing to do this, we do an episode in the back of a Ford 350 truck. That would be great.
How would the sound be, since you're the resident
probably
engineer?
It's probably not great, but hopefully by episode 350, we can find a solid engineer.
When you say the back of it, you mean like
the bed. Like, it's a pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're traveling. maybe we're not. I would be willing to travel an hour and a half and do an episode in the back of a pickup truck on the highway. You know what, guys? I'm not going to say the destination. Let's just sort of, like, go.
What? Let's just sort of go.
Let's just sort of go, man. That's it. That's the advice I give to young podcasters. Let's just go.
Isn't that like a Mazda
I don't think so.
slogan?
Let's just go.
I think it's
I'm
let's
pretty
go.
sure it's not.
Like just drive or something.
I don't think that's it. But I do want to get YG on for episode 400. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's smart. I mean, we do love a pun.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, we really should have done 2 Jews and 2 Black Dudes review the movies for episode 300, watching 300.
Damn.
Is it too late to kill this episode?
How about us
Mm-hmm.
and the Locks in the back of a pickup? That would be a lot of fun, by the way.
What?
The 5 of us in the back of a pickup truck doing an episode on
We
the highway.
wouldn't fit. Also,
It'd be great.
Styles would throw me over.
Again, yeah. All right, so even better, we will fit.
Yeah.
Jeff, there's a lot of room in the back of a Ford 350.
I can't wait
This
until
episode
we get sponsored.
It's sponsored by the great Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, American made.
Let's just go.
Let's get built Ford tough.
Jeff, Joe Budden's on the podcast today. Did we say that already?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Joe Budden is on the podcast today, and we were thinking about who we wanted up here, what would be very meaningful for an episode where it just shows how long we've been at this, how much we've excelled and elevated. And Joe is the perfect guest because he, like us, is a creator who didn't let things get in his way. When things did, he made a big stink of it and rose above that and has continued to put out dope content on a regular basis. And the Joe Budden Podcast is clearly your favorite podcast.
We're the third favorite.
And we are your third favorite. So
second is up for grabs.
yeah, with that sort of delineated, first and third, that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
It's just facts that Joe Budden Podcast is number 1.
Yeah.
We're number 3.
Someone's in the middle.
Yeah, you guys figure out who that is. We're not going to tell you who your second favorite podcast is.
It's 2 Jews and 2 Black Dudes review movies in the back of a pickup truck.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Jeff, when do you want to get into this episode?
Right after I tell people really quickly, you know, we don't ask much of our audience. We don't ask much of our supporters, but we've done 300 episodes of our podcast. And if you can just tell people to listen to any one of our episodes, even if you're in the Joe Budden universe and that's all you care about, we've done great episodes with Maul, Rory, Parks, Ice, Nadeska. I'm trying to think who else.
Just there's been a lot of people.
Our first Joe Budden interview.
They're all great. You should check those out. Start there and see where else it takes you. There's 300 episodes to choose from.
Hitmaker was on here.
We've had a lot of Joe Budden's friends and Joe Budden himself twice. Jeff, when do you want to get into this one?
Right now.
All right. You ready?
I've been ready.
No, I know. I just didn't want
How
to
many
stop.
times are you going to ask me if I'm ready? Turn this shit on. Well, what are we doing here? Introduce me. Hi. The fuck?
All right, ready, Jeff? Yo, what up? It's Eric, a.k.a. Stepped on Bricks, a.k.a. Billie Jean.
Yo, what up? It's Jeff, a.k.a. 300 Down, a.k.a. the New York Knicks in the fourth quarter.
Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys.
There we go.
No, you guys put on your fucking radio voice.
You're not even going to do you're not even going to do like Joey Kinks? You're not going to bring that out?
No, those guys are silly. Joe Budden here with my guys on what's supposed to be an off day.
Yeah.
But somehow I'm doing a pod.
All right, well, let me finish the
Speaks to
intro.
how much I love you guys.
Oh, we
now you want to.
Yeah. Here's your third favorite podcast to waste time with. It's the real. Joe, what's happening? Yo,
What's up, man?
Joe, man, like 100%. We wanted to bring someone up here for our 300th episode that meant something to not only podcasting, but to our career. And when we think about the almost 13 years that we put into creating content, you were one of our first supporters, one of our first collaborators. And all through the years, you've been supportive of us, and you've been a part of everything we've done. And we just wanted to say thank you and hi.
Oh, man, Eric. Hey, you guys. That made me feel tingly inside.
No, but
it's true.
It is.
It's true.
We
and
all,
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's important.
We all, came of age in the blog era. I think really found our lanes in that spot. Do you miss the blogs?
No. Not at all.
You don't miss sending emails to be like, hey, can you please post my shit?
I never did that.
You had people do that.
I never had people do that.
Really?
No.
You didn't have relationships?
Wait, that's not true.
Personal relationships?
We got reached out to by people being like, hey, can you do a video with Joe? Can you do this?
Who?
I don't know. The people who put the 3Ds on your album.
Amalgam Digital.
Yeah, Amalgam Digital.
They don't represent Joe. They've never represented Joe. They've always represented their own interests.
Mm-hmm. Once you turned in an album, you were just like, that's good enough for me?
I'm talking about that. No, I was fortunate enough back then to whereas if I put something out on whatever my platform was at the time, whether it be a website or whatever we were using, the blogs just grabbed it. And I was grateful for that.
I mean, you still had to do press runs, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, no. Yes and no. I wasn't a press guy. I hated press.
Did you start out doing press for Def Jam?
I hated.
Did you do radio runs?
Yeah, and then I got hip to what that was. And it never felt good for me. Like, even when I had a song thriving at radio, it just didn't feel good.
When you created Joe Budden TV on YouTube, did the people around you understand, do you think,
No.
what it could have been?
No.
Did people try to stop you?
No, nobody tried to stop me. Nobody really paid it much attention until it started getting attention.
And then what? Then they wanted to monetize it?
No, nobody ever tried to monetize my video.
Damn.
Mm-mm. And I think that was before the ads, and that was before YouTube was really evolving. Like, you couldn't even put videos up longer than 10 minutes at that time.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle. But once it got moving, and then it got moving too much, and people didn't really want to be involved because it was too much visibility back then for people. So it just stopped.
People being like Tahiri?
No, because we broke up. But I had a million different ideas to continue, and even toward the end of Tahiri and I, other people, friends, shit like that. They was like, no, get that camera on. And then they wouldn't be so real in front of it.
Right. Well, I mean, your supporters are very vocal and very much attached to you, right? You have a very loyal fan base.
Yes, I would say so.
Did you feel when you were a signed rapper that you had to fit into a certain box?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I'll say yeah to that. Not that I so much felt I had to fit inside a box. I never felt that way personally, but I did feel that the game in general puts you in a box.
Well, who were some careers that you were trying to emulate?
None. I think I just kept picking things up along the way. And the more I picked up, I didn't see anybody else really emulating, really doing anything that I would emulate. Like, I very quickly learned that I would beef with a lot of people. But I was competitive about it, so I thought. I didn't know. I had to learn on the fly that, okay, no, you dissing people, they dissing you, it gets to the streets, it gets real. And so that was unique. Like, whoever I admired before then, they didn't go that route. I quickly learned that I hated a major. Hated a major, didn't want to be here, hated clubs, hated whatever stereotypes y'all were trying to get me to push out there. That was unique. Quickly learned I didn't want to make up-tempo radio. I didn't want that to represent me. It's funny that kind of represents me somehow. But, oh, man, I had a lot of plans. God just laughs at plans. But anyway, I quickly learned that, no, I was going to have a very unique journey.
Well, you couldn't have had any plans in high school, could you?
I didn't really attend high school.
But high school age, I mean.
Oh, no, high school age, I was breaking the law,
right.
Allegedly.
But it wasn't like, okay, I can see where this is going to lead me. I could
never see shit. I could never see shit, to be honest.
Do you think that is helped?
Not then, anyway.
Yeah, can you see shit now?
I see it all now. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Okay, all right. So,
but back then, now, no. I was a 17-year-old, 16-year-old on dust. Was just living. I was living crazy back
Yeah.
then.
Well, one of the things that we really admire about you is taking things into your own hands, right? Like really being the boss of your own career as much as you can be. And for us to see you take a chance to be like, let's say the Stephen A. Smith of, rap commentary or hip hop culture, whatever, and go take the complex job and be able to go on multiple times each week, bring something new to the table and make your opinions like the center of conversation, that was impressive, right? To do it for the time you did it was impressive. To leave, to take that leap off the ledge, also impressive, because a lot of people would have just re-upped and said, okay, I'm working in this building, it's working, let me keep doing this for 3 years, 4 years, or whatever.
Oh, yikes.
No, truthfully, right? But you didn't.
Jesus.
You didn't.
That sounds nasty.
Yeah. And so you moved on from there and decided to see what you could do. Okay, the Revolt thing comes and the Spotify thing comes, but looking back at it, how nervous were you when the contract negotiations didn't go your way? Could you see the future?
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just having kind of a similar talk last night with Brandon, who also does a podcast. Shout out to him, Grassroots Podcast.
Shout out to Brandon.
And because he's going through something in podcast world. I won't spill his business, but I was sharing with him that I'm going to always bet on me versus any company, corporation, I'm going to always bet on the creatives against the corporate. At Complex, and I'm going to always go into something seeing how high the ceiling is for growth in the first place. I quickly learned at Complex that the ceiling just wasn't very high for me per se in terms of growth, and I was clear in where I wanted to go. And as an independent, you have the ability to be nimble. You have an ability to kind of have your pulse on things before them. Like you're on the ground, you're with the people. You ingratiate yourself with the people, and you'll beat them to the punch every time. I'm going to always bet on that. I went to Complex at one point, Ian and I, and said, hey, we want to start a network. Podcasting's happening. Y'all don't do shit here. Take the network. We'll bring you 5 podcasts. You give me, well, we weren't even asking for much, $40,000 a month. And they said no. And I thank God that they did.
To sell ads against it, to distribute it, to promote it.
Yeah, let me build this out here. Move. I just gave y'all this show. It's working. It's thriving. Now you naturally would want to build on that success. But I really thank God, Ian and I thank God that they said no, Rich Antonelli and them. So that was good, man. It wasn't so much room for growth. The scary part in leaving was I had a baby on the way. That was the scary part. So I didn't know how long the wait would be until I was actively being paid for my work again.
Yeah, I mean, is it scary, like, from everyone else's perspective? You not only have, like, your baby's mother to be, you not only have another son who's going to go to college, you not only have that, but you also have people who work for you in the podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of people counting on you to bet on the creative.
A lot of people bet on me.
And you were sure of it.
Yeah.
We can certainly relate, but to like see it in someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like one of the underrated things about what we've done and what you did was to be patient. Talk about like being patient in that time. I mean, well, also like not having ads against your podcast.
Oh man, I give all the praise to the fellas for that. To be honest, it wouldn't be possible without their outlook on things. It's really not me. A big part of podcasting is the management of people. And when you're dealing with your friends and people you actually love and care about their best interest, if there's a disagreement on something like that, it could be bad. So yeah, that's really Maul, Rory, Parks. I don't even think about Parks in that way because he's from the dungeon with me. Like, he's been my engineer for so long. So he knows what time it is. We'll do something, not get paid. We hustling out here. But Rory, Maul, the rest of the crew, Ian, everybody, it's all them.
Was it difficult when you were in another big building, Def Jam, being that creative and betting on yourself? And you're a different person
at
that point.
I was battling myself still, though. So I was clear in what I did and did not want to do and where I didn't want to be. But I didn't know the rules of the game so much. I didn't know how the game was played. I didn't really understand the business, and I was at odds with myself, which is a recipe for disaster, all of it. So I spent a large part of my 20s just causing disasters places, just because I didn't know how to fully articulate how I was feeling. And I didn't have the proper team in place I don't care how talented you are. If you don't have the right team in place, you're not going to get very far. And it took me a long time to get all the pieces kind of together at once. Back to that patience that Jeff was speaking about. Like, yeah, it's funny that yeah, I would say I'm pretty patient. Well, when you see the bigger picture,
sure.
When you see the bigger
Yeah,
picture,
because you have to zoom out to be able to see that.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
I'm never short terming it. Like when it got the complex, that contract was for a year. It's like a year, and I was coming from rapper world,
right?
So it was like a year in rapper world, and shit, that's an album and a run.
So you wanted it to be longer?
No, I was like, great, we can get in and out of that. I can go there, build up this property,
mm-hmm.
and then see what you do. See what you do with it once you build it up, because that's the fight that us creators have. Like, we can see something before you people with the money can. So the conversation we have before I build it and where you stand after it's built, that's monumental for me in how this relationship is going to move forward.
So there's this old school way of thinking where it's like, okay, an artist, a musical artist is just doing music, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were growing up and you would express yourself, and okay, yeah, you are great with words, and you can you can perform, and you can really like put a certain type of art out there. Were you like, oh, I can also paint, or I can draw, or I can do some other form of creativity, and know that you're not just a musical artist?
No, it was always music based.
When it comes time to do something where you're talking about what goes on within the culture, and it's not just you fitting 16s in a verse and going out and performing it like you've known your whole life, are you sure of yourself that you can have those conversations on air like you can have them off mic?
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't a crazy thing to walk into Complex and sit down and become certainly more than just what you were?
No.
Well, I mean, you also had done
that was the plan.
No, because a lot of people
had done Hot 97. You had done like other things. Like,
yeah, it wasn't unfamiliar territory.
No, but people can look at it as like, all right, Joe is like not just a rapper anymore. He's transitioning into something else.
Well, that's why I've been dead set on sticking firm to I am retired as an MC. That was important for me to convey, because I needed people to take me serious in my new capacity. I didn't want.
You didn't want to have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, no, I didn't want the suspense there of maybe he'll do it. That was one side. Another side, I was clear in what I was about to go do and stand firm in. I was going to alienate myself, and there was going to be some rocky roads and relationships, and I needed to stand firm in that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. If you're putting your neck out there like that, you want to see how your business partner receives that and how they treat that. I didn't like how Complex did that either.
You didn't like the memes?
No, the memes were awesome.
Yeah.
The memes were great.
But isn't that how they responded in that, like, something happened with the Migos, right, on the red carpet, and then the response was they just put out memes. Did you want them to do more than that?
Yeah. Well, that only happened, that story, I've told that story a bunch, but that built up to that. But back to what I was saying, yeah, I told Complex to hire security, and security didn't cost very much. It's in LA, it's security everywhere, and they wouldn't pay the $300. So I went to bat up there for me, Nadeska, academics, more so myself and academics. People already hated him. Enough people hated me. So, yeah, that was telling that we go on y'all platform every day and give y'all this type of content that is not being delivered anywhere else. And y'all won't pay $300 back to the ceiling not being so high for growth. That's a sign. I don't ignore signs.
Did you think to yourself that you have no problem like holding your tongue? I can just, say whatever I want with good conscience?
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to clout chase. I wasn't going to say anything that wasn't true to self, anything that I didn't firmly believe, anything that would make me not be able to sleep at night.
You would talk to younger artists, a Yachty or whoever, and convey things that you had gone through. And we watched it, knowing what you've gone through, knowing what your career looked like and how you've battled certain people and certain long-standing
mentalities,
ways. Yeah. And if people really listened to you, I think that they could have learned things and understood that while maybe you were saying it loudly or maybe you were saying it and they didn't want to hear it, they should have.
Yeah. New York people talk a certain way, man. That's what I chalk it up to. But yeah, that's one of the great things about this shit that we do too. It's only to give information to the younger people, the older people. People call my phone every day, the labels, the artists, producers, the execs. They just want to kick it. They just want to kick it about this shit. Conversations have been open. It's awesome.
Were people ever afraid that you would say things that were said in confidence?
No. Because this thing kind of started with, like, the people that fuck with me. There's a lot of people that don't, but there's a lot of people that do. Like, they know how I give it up in real life. No. You tell me something, that's where it's going to stay. I'm pretty responsible with my platform.
And could you just really quickly just give out something that nobody knows that was said to you in confidence? Just burn a bridge on our podcast.
No.
I think it would really help us.
No, I couldn't do that.
Was there anything you liked about the Complex platform itself?
I liked a lot about it. I liked a lot of the creative people in there. Jinx, who I still work with to this day. I still like academics. There's a lot of people in there, a lot of people that left, but a lot of people in there that I really fucked with. I fucked with how they went about certain things. Just other things I didn't fuck with, how they went about certain things. But I learned a lot there. Really grateful for the experience because I learned a lot. It was like college for me.
What relationship did you have with Puff before you guys started negotiating the Revolt deal?
Not too much of one. We knew each other. We've been together. I think I was in the studio with him when they were trying to come up with Ciroc or some type of alcohol.
Really?
I was there with Royce.
Wait, the taste profile or the name of it?
No, not the name of it. It was just liquor tasting and mixing and experimenting. And Royce was working on, I want to say, the Dirty Money album.
Oh, right on.
And I was there, but I was just like a fly on the wall.
Didn't you write for like Press Play or something like that?
Some shit.
Yeah.
Some shit. Royce did a lot.
You never got invited to write?
No, not at all. I was not there in a creative capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I was just there as company to. Actually, that's exactly where I was when Saigon was on the radio at Sirius, and him and I had that exchange. That is where I was. That's how I remember.
It's an eventful evening.
That's how I remember the night. I'm like, yeah, I'll be right back. But yeah, and shout out to Saigon.
Were there moments where you were just like, yo, this is not how it should be going? Like,
in what?
In your career, where you were just like, yo, I'm at Def Jam. Like, Focus was a hit, right?
Hey,
like
my entire career is that.
Hits?
No. My entire career, fuck you. My entire career is, hey, this shouldn't be going this way.
Yeah.
Every moment of it.
When did you think that things were going most right? When you were in it? Like, not like...
In music?
Yeah.
I never felt that way.
Never?
No.
So in deciding to end that portion of your career, were you like, okay, now things really can go my way? Like, maybe like the way that I was living my life?
No, I was too afraid.
To stop?
Yes. It was too much fear with that. It was my only skill.
As far as you saw it?
Yeah. You know what? No, that's not true because I always knew that when I stopped rapping, I would go do radio. That's how I saw it in my head.
Yeah.
Because this was a long time ago. So you just envision radio as broadcasting.
Were you like, yo, maybe I'll have to go to like Baltimore or to like Atlanta?
No, I knew I would only work in a major city. The type of radio that I wanted to do, I could not do everywhere. It would have to be New York, Chicago, Philly, LA.
Were those also good Joe Budden markets?
Those were good markets for me to be myself.
Right,
But for your rap career.
Music, yeah.
Oh, shit, this is even before we was tracking all the analytics. But let's see, LA was always my second biggest market. So yeah, Chicago was a top market for me. Not so much Jersey.
Really?
What?
Jersey was not in my top 10 markets.
That's crazy.
That is really wild.
Yeah, I know. It really hurt my feelings as a 22-year-old. But
Well, to be fair, everything hurt your feelings.
yeah, good point.
You thought that there was a radio career after your music career.
Well, how did the Hot 97 thing start?
Hot 97 started because Tracy Clarity, at the time, the program director, she saw something. I had a relationship with her, and she saw something, and she said, I want you to do the morning show. And I said, I've never done that. She said, I don't care. Just get up there and talk. I said, all right. And she got me a hotel in the city, and I went up there and did it. And then they wanted me to keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, but like, were you nervous before you actually sat down? Like,
Super nervous. I was really nervous, which is interesting because there's not too many times in my life where I've ever gotten nervous, like speaking to crowds.
what were the other ones?
The first time performing.
Which was
performing
where?
Period, which the Canton in Journal Square in Jersey City.
That's where your Jersey, movement started.
That's right.
All those Jersey fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, fan.
something like that. Something like that. But yeah, then maybe my first time performing as a signed recording artist, and the night before I had to go and do the morning show.
Wow. That's a short list.
Yeah. I love talking to people. You just got to break out that shit like once, and then you're all right.
Who was your team like with you for the morning show? That was, what era was that?
Oh, my God. I don't remember the first team. We went through a few different teams. Did we have Menya at first? I don't remember if we had Menya.
Was there anybody up there who could was Tracy directing you? Like,
No. She let me do what I want. And that's why it was great and probably short-lived. Menya, we had at one point. Ashy Larry, we had at one point. Envy, we had at one point. Miss Jones, we had at one point. And then I think she might have took over after I left.
did you do the traditional thing of like laying out like when you're going to do commercial breaks and what segments you're going to do?
Well,
and
that's radio.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was radio. We tried to be as non-traditional as we could be.
Yeah.
We came up with Smack Fest. Yeah, we had Ebro for a little while. It was a cool time. It was a cool time. Good time.
Yeah. So when the podcast starts, like clearly it's gone through a lot of different.
But wait, because
yeah.
that was then. That was earlier in my career. I said, all right, when I stop rapping, we're gonna go do radio.
Yeah.
But now when it's time to stop rapping in 2016, you know you're not going to do radio. So that's where that fear comes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Power. I'm not going to Hot. I'm not going to Chicago. I'm not going to any of these places. All that stuff I thought earlier. So now it's, what the fuck? What the fuck will I do?
So you were retired when you started the podcast. It wasn't like I'm doing a podcast and that can help me sell more records.
I started the podcast and I was rapping.
Right.
Because the podcast started in 2015, and I put that album out in 2014 and 2016. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was rapping and doing a podcast. But we did the podcast for free for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, I never said.
And you guys
So
were
there
in
was-
studios at first, too.
So there was nothing to be afraid of in doing it for free, at that time.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's building equity.
And that's, you don't have to do, you don't have to throw to weather. You don't have to have like a DJ break. You don't have to like
Although that would have been a really
do commercials.
dope move, I think.
What, having a weatherman?
Yeah.
In doing that, were you like, okay, podcasting can be an interview show. Podcasting can be like barbershop talk.
I was very clear. I didn't want to talk to people. I don't want to do interviews. I commend all you guys.
But you do an interview series right now.
I know, with the people that I would like to speak to.
But how is that any different from having an interview show?
Everyone is not welcome. That's the difference.
Well, no, neither. Same with our show. I think that we're very selective about who we have up here.
Yeah.
And I think that it's possible to
Joe,
good for you guys.
We texted you a lot to get you to.
There are some shows,
of course,
where they don't really have that say.
But I think that because you have this in your own hands, you could do your podcast that way if you wanted to.
I would never want to do that. It's nasty.
You just save it for YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, why did you?
I hate when the guests come on the podcast.
Did you hate when Pusha came up?
No.
Right.
That was the shit.
Yeah.
That was like the hardest shit ever. He killed that.
Yeah. You recorded for many hours.
Yeah. Well, one, we love Push.
Yeah. And
Two,
it was the center of conversation.
2, we love Drake.
Yeah.
And 3, you love drama.
3, we love drama. That was the center of the conversation. And I love Push's mind. So the fact that he hit me to come up there, it said a lot. It was a big statement. It was.
He obviously understood what you had built with your platform. Did you understand how central that thing was going to be?
No. No, I don't think that was really the goal. I just wanted to grow it. I didn't know how important it would become.
Were you
to people and the industry?
Were you
actually? By the way, I do want to commend Eric because in 2016, I think, or 2017, whatever it was, we had a roundtable at the end of the year, and we had Scotty Beam and a bunch of other people came over, and Eric said for Rapper of the Year,
Artist of the Year,
it was you, even though you had not dropped any music, but you were the most influential for every conversation,
the most important voice, and your artistry was talking,
and
it
so
just wasn't rapping.
Every single person besides me disagreed. But I think that, you in hindsight, you are correct.
Thank you.
And even back then you were correct.
And thank you.
He was correct then.
Yeah. You were the most important voice and remain the important voice you are because you have those conversations.
That was the cheat code in talking instead of rapping. It was like, okay, you rhyme words pretty well, but it could be a ton of people who hate your voice, hate your style of music, hate the way you look, hate the way you dress. Just a million reasons why somebody is not checking for your music. But just talking, you were able to just insert yourself in whatever conversation you saw fit. And some of them traveled. And then the artists, the sensitive artists, they carried away from me. They carried away from me.
Yo, what's the dumbest thing you thought was responsible for the fact that you were not who you thought you would be when you signed to Def Jam? Like the smallest, dumbest thing. You're like, oh, it's got to be the clothes, or it's got to be like this market, or it's got to be this executive, or...
What's the smallest thing that you saw within yourself that you were like, oh, if only this one thing...
This is responsible.
If only people forgave this one thing within me.
I never felt that way at Def Jam. At Def Jam, I was still kind of pure. That's where all the anger came from, because Def Jam was like a dream situation for me, and then you get there and you start learning the game and seeing how the business goes, and it's like, ugh. So, I never felt that way there. I never felt like, oh, I need more attention, I need this, if the people knew this about me. And I didn't have too many wrongdoings at the time, because I was new. Like, a lot of my fuck-ups came toward the end of that.
At what point do you feel like you fully accepted the humorous parts around your life? The Joe Budden fits, the memes, Rory or Maul or Parks just shitting on you. Yeah.
I feel like it was early on, because at least we hang.
I was about to say the skits I did with you guys,
which were great.
We were
pretty self-deprecating,
for sure. But there is a difference between, I think, once every couple months doing that and on a weekly basis.
To be honest, when I stopped being so angry, I enjoyed all of it.
Well, sure.
Like the memes, the jokes, the fits page, even the things that the haters were saying. Like when I stopped being just mad and grumpy, and that was probably around, even though my 2014 album sounded really angry and grumpy, and because I was ready to go, I was ready to fucking stop the shit. But while I was making that album, I wasn't angry at music anymore. I wanted to disassociate myself with it. So in turn, I was kind of happy. I had a lot of fun.
Did you talk to anybody like about retirement? Like,
no.
How do you approach that and
Who
figure
do I
out?
need to talk to about?
I have no idea because everybody who retires comes back.
I didn't have any plans on coming back, even though at some point, like way down the line in my journey, maybe that'll be an option. But right now, no.
But there was nobody who could be like, okay, I see where this is going, or
No.
I could be a mentor or a trusted voice.
My team wasn't set up that way at the time of my retirement, which probably was a part of why I was retiring.
Right. Who was the first person that you brought on and like sort of started to turn things around in your mind for your team?
It was me and Ian.
And how'd you find him?
Through Parks. Oh.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more to that. Yeah.
More?
Yeah.
How did I find Ian? I was looking for a manager for a while, and not really a manager, but help.
Mm-hmm.
Like a partner in what I was about to attempt.
Right. You've had managers before that. What's a bad manager to you?
I can't say what a bad manager.
Not specifically, but like,
if
for us, we've had managers where it's just like you don't hear from them for a long time. And you're like, well, what is this?
Well, I was about to get into in my search for this person, because it took years. I had to kind of figure out what I was looking for. So I met with a few of the bigger agencies. I could never be a part of that. Like, I need to speak to somebody a lot.
Yeah.
You need to be very accessible. The big company, that didn't do it for me. So then you're looking for like independents, and all the independents I know, they were running around with artists that was really out there getting it right now. So here I come looking for somebody, but also saying, hey, I'm not doing music anymore, which everybody knows to be my most valuable asset at the time. So it took a while. And Parks just kept beating me down about, hey, you should talk to Ian. Ian, he's got Preem. Parks is familiar with my personality type. So he said, you should talk to Ian. And I brushed him off for like a long time. And then it got so bad. When was that? Whatever year that was. Came off tour, and I hated the tour. It was horrible. It was disgusting. I was ready to just do whatever. So I sat with Ian. And I said, yeah, I'm retiring. It's not really what I want to do. Maybe one more album. And he said, that's not really what I was looking at anyway. I wasn't looking at the music.
Wow.
And I said, interesting. So we both kind of had the same picture in our head.
Mm-hmm.
But he was from music and I was from music. So
you had to explore this new, like, foreign frontier.
Yeah. So when I say Complex was like college,
yeah,
Complex, him and I both learned a lot about ads and integrations and licensing.
Did you really throw yourself into it?
Into what?
Into learning all that stuff. Like, you weren't just like, okay, well, maybe that's just like Ian's thing.
No, Jeff. No. Anywhere I've ever gone, I've been inquisitive, which is how I always became like unhappy.
Yeah.
Like, I was always in search of the information. Like, when I got signed to Def Jam, I really didn't know the significance of being signed to a production company and then them being signed to Def Jam and then who's got power over the budgets. And I didn't know how many budgets there were. I didn't know there was a stipend for it's just too much. It's too much for a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
So you get it on the way. And that's what me and Ian did. We had the Complex idea, we got the Complex, and we got a lot of the information. Every morning, we just sat. I was the first person there every morning, is what I'm saying. Like, standing outside at 5:45, I would beat the coffee trucks. It was my first job. It was my first time it's my first time in corporate world, seeing people go back and forth to work. You got to understand, as a rapper,
yeah,
this was like, this was amazing.
Weird.
This was amazing. I was talking to people. Hey, the lunch break people, that crew, and it was fun, man.
People must have thought you were a psychopath. Showing up to work in like a good mood.
No, that same passion that was in music. Once I stopped music, if passion is in you, it's going to come out. Mm-hmm. It's going to come out somehow. And I attacked that Complex job with just so much passion. Like, they thought I was nuts when I first got
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Like,
They did.
most people do not show up to their job like super excited. It's just like another thing to do.
You got, fam, Complex was
Oh no, I get it.
editorial, but they were trying to do content as well. And here you have this guy who, for lack of a better term, it's like instant content.
Yeah.
If I'm just running down the hallway, that's where a lot of those stupid videos came from with me, Angel Diaz, and they came from, oh, you just got to tape him. And that was gold. That was gold in there. And they knew they had their certain way of rolling shit out, marketing and creating memes, and it was fun to be inside of this, the same way it was fun to be inside of the label and look around a little bit. And had they done the right thing in that relationship, no telling where that would have gone.
Right.
But I'm so thankful they didn't.
What do you think people got wrong about you leaving Complex?
Oh, I'm not sure. What were they saying at the time?
I think that the things that I remember were that there was like some sponsorship deals that, like, I don't know that I ever
That's
got
a
the
fact.
full story.
That you felt like you should have had a bigger cut, bigger stake in a show that you were at least a third of, but maybe should have been a
No,
bigger.
it wasn't a third. I created the show. And that's where the music shit, that's where those tools I got from music just came in handy over here. Because you create the show, but that doesn't mean that you have a creator contract. And that doesn't mean that you're handled and paid and treated and have the clauses that a creator should have in that. But cool, because as a creator, you have to be willing to get fucked first. You don't start some shit and expect to see profit in the first however many months or year one. So I didn't mind that. It wasn't until, okay, we were doing, and not to rehash things, but we were doing Everyday Struggle Monday to Thursday. Purposely, that Friday real estate was off the table, not an option. It allowed Act to continue his developing empire. It allowed me to run around. Great. So then what happened? I want to try to give a quick version, but it's all ironic. Then what happened? Then Complex came and said, hey, we need you guys on Fridays. And I said, all right, is the pay different? What's different? What's different is they were about to start, somebody came in and purchased the show for Fridays. So it was a specific thing to be said. It was a specific...
A presenting sponsor.
Yeah, we were supposed to speak to a certain topic. But my contract said that anything that conflicted with what I deemed to be my podcast, I didn't have to do it. So I stuck to that. It was, I'm not getting on Friday and talking about whoever the sponsor wants us to talk about when I may say something that's not so kind in my podcast where I can freely speak. This is you guys interrupting that. I'm not doing it. No. I've always gotten my information from saying no to some shit. I said the no, and that became a really big deal, come to find out, because Spotify had purchased Friday for...
Oh, wow.
Spotify purchased Friday.
I thought it would have been like a sneaker thing.
It was Spotify.
Or like Old Spice or something.
No, it was Spotify. That's why this story is amazing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Spotify was purchasing. Well, and that's the thing. They were purchasing Fridays at Everyday Struggle. And at the time, it's arrogant and narcissistic to maybe think that they're purchasing it for you. So you say, okay, they're purchasing the show. Not until Complex was making that a real big thing that I was saying no to Fridays. They was making that the super big deal. And then Complex said, fuck you, we out. We doing it anyway. So Joe didn't come in for Fridays. And now it was Ack and Jessica, and I think the first person they brought on might have been Action Bronson or ASAP Ferg, one of them on a Friday.
And you said,
now, mind you,
this is
I
every
spent Monday
day
through
struggle.
Thursday saying, I spent Monday through Thursday up there saying, hey, we'll be back Monday since Complex don't want to pay us for Fridays. I used to purposely say that. So anyway, they do Friday, they bring on Action Bronson or whoever they brought on.
This is all because they ruined your catchphrase?
Well, no, I'm just telling you how my business partner was behaving in the relationship.
Yep. I get it.
So they brought on whoever they brought on. That's not the contract that Spotify signed with you. Who is this? What are you doing? Complex said, whatever, we're gonna try this. They tried it, they pulled it, didn't work. And they wouldn't give me, and they wouldn't even pay me to come. They wouldn't pay me to come in on the Friday. At that point, it was about proving a point of, okay, you're not doing the Fridays, we're gonna make this work. But when it didn't work and y'all had to pull it, all it said to me was, okay, Spotify was looking for my voice.
Yeah.
They didn't.
So how did you start that conversation in earnest?
That came later. That came later. I had no relationship with Spotify at the time. That's just looking back. Wow, it's funny.
Yeah.
But at the time, no. I was just standing on what I believe to be what's right and what's wrong.
Straight up. And again, this is somewhere we can completely relate. You step out to do something different. Complex is over. You've announced that, and maybe there's some behind the scenes stuff where it's like, oh, maybe we could rekindle this or whatever. But for all intents and purposes, you're out. You're doing something new.
Mm-hmm.
You have this podcast that you're doing with no income for that to speak of. You have family obligations. You have a team that you're trying to put on. How close did you get to ending that because there was no money coming in?
Ending what?
Ending the podcast.
Never. And again, that I give all the credit and praise to the squad. They have, along with myself, dedicated every Tuesday of their life to one thing. And that has just made it very simple. That was never a thought. Now, that comes with its own conversations and arguments sometime and behind the scenes disagreements, but never a thought of stopping.
Did you think of going to any other places other than Spotify for the podcast?
Yeah, but those thoughts were short-lived. We had talks with Barstool. We went up to Sirius for a little bit. We spoke to Luminary for a little bit. Who else did we speak? Spoke to a lot of people.
And you ended up...
Spoke to Larry Jackson for a little bit.
I'm sure.
What about Spotify? Was it like...
The plan.
Yeah, but what was the plan?
Can't tell you.
Oh, it's still
They had a plan.
evolving.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
The,
So it wasn't like,
their-
okay, we
their
want to put you on
vision-
tour. We want to...
Oh, no, you know. But their plan and their vision and what they had in mind, along with what I had in mind, it made sense to me.
Did you visit them in their headquarters overseas?
No.
No.
We had a meeting at the Mondrian.
Oh, that's nice. That works.
Very intimate, small, a few people on both sides.
They buy you a seafood platter?
No, I don't remember what I had. But it was good. It was a good time.
You did these like little runs for like 3 or 4 cities at a time, doing a live show in each, and you put the videos out there, and it became this bigger thing. It wasn't just you guys in Parks's home. This was you touching the people and making it look pretty epic. Was that
epic.
also a selling point for them?
Maybe. I can't say what really did it for them. I'm sure that was a huge part of it though, because that was epic. But they probably got more epic after the Spotify relationship had developed. The venues got bigger. Venues are still getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Joe Budden has never played these venues as an artist, so it's just great.
That's got to be like supremely meaningful for you as somebody who uses his voice as his art to have that many people in a tangible situation. This isn't just,
It's
I can
intriguing.
listen to it for free. This is, I'm spending my hard-earned money. I'm going to spend a Saturday night. I'm going to go to this big venue. I'll get dressed up and I'll be a part of this.
Yeah, but I've always enjoyed the fan interaction part of this profession. Like as a rapper, in the blog era, in the vlog era, for shit. Once I saw that I would continue to have beef with labels, it was important for me to have a connection directly with the fans, and that kind of has traveled. So the fact that I get some of that overlap here, my audience now is a lot more broad. But There's some overlap there. The fact that we get to do it now with these fans, it's still touching the people and getting with the people.
Can you measure your happiness, like from the outside? Can I measure your happiness based off of hat size?
No.
So this is like, like a medium happy right today, and then like some days you have like a sombrero size?
No, my hat sizes are not in correlation
That's
with my mood
like
or
people
happiness.
like within like Trump's circle would say if he wore a certain color of hat, you can measure like, his
white or red?
Yeah, white or red. Yeah. They were like, he's in a good mood or he's in a foul mood today or something like that. Yeah.
Well, when do you bring out like the big hats? Like the future size hats?
If it goes with the outfit.
Yeah, why can't it be a Joe Budden size hat, Jeff?
Oh, you want to know what? I am so sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
So you do subscribe to Joe Budden Fits?
Mm-hmm.
And do you like every post, or do they have to sort of earn your like?
Well, what's the truest thing that they've ever said?
I like a lot of the things that they say. I like how they caption things, whoever this person is.
He
says he's from North Carolina.
It's pretty damn funny.
I can't believe that this person is in North Carolina typing with this type of... It don't sound like a North Carolina person, but he kills that shit.
It's really, really good.
The best thing I saw was most recently, he said that your legs looked like carrots.
Oh, yeah, with the jeans. With the baggy knees. Yeah. Baggy knees. He's a fucking idiot. Baggy knees.
You do have a stylist,
really
right?
Good at that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to shout your stylist out?
Shout out to my stylist.
Is it ever surprising to you now? Okay, so you had this idea, I'm going to sign to Def Jam, I'm going to be this certain type of artist. That part of the career comes to a close. Is it surprising to you now, the relationship you have with a Jay or a Puff?
Yeah, it's all surprising.
Because you're not rapper Joe, you're, personality
It's
Joe.
surprising, and it's not. It's businessman Joe, and they both are businessmen to a whole different level, of course. But yeah, and it's this whole pro-black help each other out. It's a lot of synergy going on right now. So I'm grateful for it. Listen, you were making a joke about the hat size.
I would never.
But
it doesn't sound like me.
The amount of gratitude I have, I think that's one of the things I hate about how I come off on the mic sometimes. I'm talking about all this shit I really don't give a fuck about. But if we really started having real conversations, I think people would hear just how grateful I am about all of this shit. All of it. I mean, I had my own picture of what it would look like, but what God has afforded is just different. It's different.
Yeah, when did you first recognize that happiness within yourself? Or at least not that anger?
The second I stopped rapping.
For real?
The second I stopped rapping. Yeah.
Within yourself, you said to yourself, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, because rapping, and not just with rapping, but in life period, if you want to feel good, you do shit that make you feel good. Make you feel good.
For sure. Was that hard to explain to, especially your group members or people who worked at the label or lawyers or whoever, saw one thing for you and you're like, yeah, but I'm more than just that one thing.
No, because I wasn't explaining to anybody.
No.
There's nobody to explain it to. Mm-hmm. My mom, maybe.
Yeah.
But she's in support of me.
Yeah.
Dad.
That's good.
But no, it was just stoppage. It was a bunch of conversations internally.
Is it weird having friendships with label people who maybe you had just big time disagreements with while you were working together?
No, I think I've done pretty good at. Again, I never really liked promo, so I've done pretty good at separating my friendships and relationships I value in this from music. I'm not sending you my record because if you don't play it, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to feel away outside of, no. So no.
What if we played your Addiction remix right now?
Addiction remix.
The Ryan Leslie.
I used to kill those remixes.
You did. Yeah. The Neo one. There's a...
There's a bunch of Neo ones.
Yeah.
There's a few of them out there, man.
There's an Usher.
Right.
Usher. Oh my
Usher
God.
Ones.
Yep.
That was a great remix.
Case.
Yeah. The Confessions remix. Yeah.
Tweet.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
You love R&B.
Yeah.
Do you still karaoke?
I haven't had the time to, but I would love to.
You should turn that into a moneymaker.
What, karaoke?
Yeah, you singing karaoke.
Probably not.
No.
Then you have to clear the music.
I was watching a YouTube compilation of you remixing different songs today. Mm-hmm. So Tyga, a bunch of other ones. and I really enjoyed it. So yes, I do think that you could make money doing karaoke. That video has like 60,000 views, by the way.
They like that shit when it happens.
Yeah.
Do you?
I enjoy podcasting. I enjoy all that shit that we do on there.
Is there a topic that you just like, if it comes to your, notes and you're just like, I really don't care to talk about this, or are you just open to whatever anyone brings to the table?
I try to stay away from politics and religion, but that's me in real life too.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably the only two that I'm like, or if it's like a whole bunch of sad shit, we'll try to tone that down a little bit. But everything else, I'm open to it.
What's the smallest thing that you cannot believe you had a huge argument about on the podcast?
The last podcast, Maul told me he's never been hurt by a woman. He's never felt hurt. And I sat there and said, how do I end up in these conversations with people that are 38 years old and have never? So that happens a lot. My memory's bad, so I can't think of all of them, but it happens quite a bit.
Yeah. What's the longest that you've overstayed your welcome at Parks' house?
Parks would have to answer that because I do hang out. I'll hang.
You also show up on time.
Early. That has to be annoying to Parks now that I think about it. Because we might not record till 6, and I'll come at 4.
Oh my God! What?
Well, early is on time, and on time is
He's
late.
engaged now too.
Yeah,
by the
but
way,
4 is
yeah, congratulations.
Yeah. 4 is like, first of all, 2 hours too early. Like if you showed up here 2 hours too early, I'd be like, I don't know what to do.
I got here early today.
Not
No,
2 hours
You
early.
showed up on time.
Not 2 hours.
Wait, what
No,
if
I
people
did not.
showed up early at your pool party?
I showed up early.
Well, like what? A minute early?
You can check your text.
It was
Yeah.
like 5 minutes
It
early.
was 5 minutes
Yeah.
early, and
Yeah.
I beat your photographer.
You did.
Yes, you did. No,
Shout
but
out
that's
to
You
the
Tom.
time.
guys were not prepared when I got here. You know why? Because I was early.
I was here. Eric was here, so we
Yeah.
were on time.
We live here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You can say Tommy was late.
No, Tommy was on time,
Yeah, sure.
which is late.
Yeah. Who's somebody that you had on the pull-up who... Have you had relationships with everybody before they show up, or is there anybody that you met on set?
I met Corday on set. Loved him.
Yeah, he's great.
But again, I went into that as like a real fan of him, so I wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear him. So that was great.
I think that's dope, by the way, to be able to be a fan of these people and also speak your truth, Like, because there are people who are like, no, I can only do one or the other.
Yeah, no. Joe Budden is going to speak his truth. If we've learned nothing else throughout my career, I'm going to speak my truth. Everybody else I probably have had.
You knew Russ?
Russ I met for the first time, but we had some dialogue.
Right.
Whether it was good or bad. But
Right.
we had some exchanges.
That makes it sound like it's not good or bad. It sounds like it was just one or the other.
Well, no. Fucking Russ did one of the Friday episodes of Everyday Struggle.
Right.
But because, oh man, that's pretty good actually. Man, God is amazing. That's pretty good. Fucking, they asked us if we wanted Russ on. I said no. We're not taking Russ. So we didn't take Russ. Then they took the Friday bag and they just needed to put people in the seat. So they put Russ there, who was mad that we didn't take him before. So he got there without the head of the ship there, and he tore their ass up, or Nadeska really, and they went back and forth. So when I got to work Monday, I tore his ass up. So that was our exchange.
Do you,
And now I love the guy.
yeah, like,
Would I love him?
You should. He's
Okay.
pretty awesome.
I don't know him, and I don't know much about him, other than I know that his reputation precedes him.
Yeah, maybe it does.
are you more forgiving of reputations preceding people because
Your
yours
reputation
might have? Yeah.
I'd like to think that I'm a pretty forgiving person, period, Eric. But, yeah, that's another part of it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of empathy for artists because I know what artists go through, and you go through all of it. So, yeah, I've been in that boat. I'm probably still in that boat. There's a lot of people that don't fuck with me for things that just are not true about me. Mm-hmm. You got to live with that in artist world. Like, people get married to whatever idea of you exists at the time, and they won't let it go.
Like you as an artist, period. I bet
Yeah.
that took a lot for people to be like, oh, Joe's really not coming back to rapping right now. And Joe is going to be this social commentator.
Yeah, I'm sure that was tough for people, but like my for real fans, my entire career have wanted to see me succeed and win. For them, I don't think it matters whether it's music. It could have been fashion. It could have been anything. They would have been genuinely happy to see me happy and thriving.
And I bet there's a lot of people out there who just know you from the past, like, 3 years.
But there's a bunch of people that have no idea I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
Or used to rap.
Yeah.
I read pretty often, yo, today is when I found out Joe Budden did Pump It Up. And I'm like, fuck, why did you have to find out? I wish you didn't have to know. I like it like that.
Yeah.
If you don't know me from rapping, then don't know me from rapping.
Who's somebody that people have confused you for, like in like airports or something?
Swiss.
What?
Jewel.
What do you say in the moment?
Nothing.
You're like,
You don't double down and say like,
yeah, Clockwork's my
yeah,
favorite song.
TikTok.
No. If somebody came to me and comes to me and says, hey, you're Joe Budden, a lot of times I'll say, no, I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you deny that you're Joe Budden?
By saying, no, I'm not.
They're like, but you're wearing the hat.
I know. I'm still not.
Where's the dumbest place you've been caught by, like, TMZ? Like, that you're just like, really? Like, you're at the movies? Like,
Nah, I've only ever seen them at airports and
They don't come to New
outside of the
Jersey?
serious No.
well, what was the story with the kids who showed up at your house? The whole, like, running, like, meme or whatever,
Well,
right?
Kids showed up at my house.
Didn't they show up at your house?
Yes. they
Yeah.
showed up.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Oh,
they-
that's the story. The
that's
kid
the
showed up at
story.
your
Got
house.
it.
Kids
Yeah.
showed up
Yeah.
at my house
Yeah.
and stalked me for the entire day.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, throwing things, screaming obscenities, torturing the block.
Damn.
I know on the internet that was really funny. In real life, it wasn't.
Yeah.
In real life, I didn't find any of it funny.
Yeah.
I went to their houses.
You did.
Did you throw things?
No.
You torture their block?
No, there were adults there. So I spoke,
there
I
were-
spoke to the
yeah,
adults.
yeah.
Like, I didn't know these kids was kids, and so I realized they was kids.
Mm.
And then shit, at the time I had a 17-year-old. This kid is 17, so great that the internet is having their fun, but I have to go and talk to somebody to make sure that nobody hurts one of these kids that are playing these games. So I went there and spoke to an adult. They took care of it, and it was never a thing after that.
Did the kids ever apologize or no?
No, they might have trolled some more. But kids, that's what kids are gonna do. Kids want the attention. They're not looking at a bigger picture. No, they didn't apologize. I don't think.
What was your last?
I don't think they may have, but my memory's bad.
What was your last interaction with Quavo like?
Awesome.
Well, I mean, I saw the picture. Like, it looked awesome.
We embraced.
Was there any conversation, or was it just like?
Yeah, it was loving conversation. Hey man, love you too. That shit wasn't about nothing.
That's
I
dope.
know. Yeah, no, I mean, I had a lot of those conversations at that party. I think me and L.A. Reid squashed our shit at that party. Yeah, that was a nice party. That was a pretty fucking nice party.
Do you have outstanding beefs? Not asking you to name them, but do you have
Nope.
things that you want to resolve, or you're just at peace?
None of my beefs are outstanding.
That's great.
I'm cool with both my sons' mothers. I'm tight with every artist that I've ever beefed with. Who else is there? There are no executives.
Def Jam.
There's no executives that I'm beefing with. I'm probably not the greatest with Paul, but I don't care to be great with Paul. I don't look at that as beef. Like, that's just a bridge I'm not going by again.
Are you planning a certain date in the calendar for Drake to come on the Joe Budden podcast?
No.
If he called you and was like, hey, I'm on a plane and I landed like 3 p.m., can we do something at 6 o'clock tonight? Would you be willing to throw out all your plans and make something happen?
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you feel like because your relationship with him and because, and I'm talking about like a relationship that goes back like a decade, do you feel like you could get a conversation out of him that would be like nothing else?
Probably, depending on what Drake showed up, because he's a massive star, so that's contingent on their mood always. But does it have the potential to? Yeah.
Do you feel any ways about people who are like, I don't need to come on your podcast. I don't need to like express myself in any other way?
No, we're not that entitled. And again, we don't really care to have people like, so if our agendas align, then awesome. No, we don't feel the way at all.
What if Rory feels that way?
And he should communicate it.
What if Rory's dog feels that way?
Good old Baisley.
So you're in a place now where you're at peace. You're bigger than ever. You don't feel any pressure to create in any certain ways other than just to elevate yourself and your team and have fun, right? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty excellent place to be.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. This shit is awesome.
Are there friends that you need to like put on because you feel indebted to them and like give them their own piece of the platform?
No, I don't feel like that about anybody.
Are you asking if we should be signed or something?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Are we those friends, Joe?
No. No, you guys have bigger aspirations.
The Revolt Show, we've always gotten a kick out of because we're especially close with people who have been on there, like Jinx, like Diani.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know Remy personally, but she is amazing.
She's awesome.
Do you find that, because that show, I imagine, tapes for a long time and then you guys edit it down?
Yes.
Do you find that the conversations that you have just like off camera you wish would be part of the main show as well?
No. No, that would be all bad. That would be all bad. We give it up behind them cameras. Any conversation between Rem and myself is that
real.
Should not be exposed to the masses.
Is she like sending like Christmas cards? Is she like fully?
She's Auntie Remy.
Yeah.
She's Auntie Remy.
Yeah.
Remy's a caretaker.
Yeah.
She's a mom.
And by the way, still a rapper.
Yeah.
And she's able to speak her mind.
Yes.
Something that maybe you didn't want to do.
What? Rap and speak my mind? I don't want to rap.
No.
I don't want to rap. Enough of rapping.
Yeah, but she does both, and she has a free conscience to say how she feels, and then also like kill songs.
Yes.
Does she want to do anything more than just those two things? You think?
Yeah.
Besides, obviously,
Yes.
like family stuff and be a mother and all.
Yes,
that.
she does. What those things are, I'll let her tell it. But yeah, she has bigger aspirations as well.
Okay, so if you're out here. Right. And like we know how the game is as well in terms of like what Instagram means and what Twitter means and all this bullshit. Right. Mm-hmm. You did put up a picture outside of 30 Rockefeller Plaza. Right. Mm-hmm. Like maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago or something like that. And maybe you signed some contract and it was telling and it wasn't telling. Right. Mm-hmm. And then there was nothing to follow. But maybe things developed. Maybe things moved in a different direction. Maybe things are upcoming. Do you feel like you still have to play the game to elevate yourself, to speak to people out there who may not hear the word specifically, but have to read in between the lines?
Yeah, you got to play the game.
Yeah.
If you're in the game, you got to play the game.
Yeah.
Now, how you choose to play it, that's on you. Anybody that I go talk to, I'm going to see if our visions can align. It was the same thing at NBC. There was a bunch of people up there that day, actually, for a show concept that I think they went in a different direction because they had a lot going on over there. But yeah, you go to see if you can align yourself with whoever you're sitting with. Like before Everyday Struggle landed at Complex, like we were in GQ.
Having a meeting?
Yes.
Wow.
That would have been interesting.
No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. We shouldn't have been there. Why are we here? Elliot to this day will tell you that I fucked that meeting up.
What'd you do?
I spoke with confidence in where I was going and what I was doing and what I was about to build. It didn't matter that I didn't have the partner to build it with yet. I knew what was coming.
That doesn't count as like fucking up the meeting then.
Well, it does when
well, you two had
you're
different
looking
expectations.
at it as getting a job.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's how he looked at it, but that's the difference between me and Elliot. Like, Elliot plays the game that way. I'm more rogue, independent, and we're gonna do this way.
Oh, I got that part.
So Elliot says I fucked that meeting up, but I say good.
I want to talk about your most important working relationship. What was it like doing Escape the Room with Hitmaker, and who was the most valuable player and who was the least valuable player? And also there were like a bunch of like people there with you guys, right?
Did I ever do Escape the Room with Berg?
We ran into you guys, yeah.
Then we must have won.
Yeah,
I've done.
that sounds like revisionist
I think we saw
history.
you before. We were leaving. You
No,
were showing
I've
up.
done too many escape the rooms.
Okay,
With too many different.
Are you
crews.
good at escape the room?
Yeah. Are
Is-
you kidding me?
Who is the worst at escape the room that you've done it with?
Oh man, I don't even remember the young lady's name. But she was real bad.
Is Ice really good at escape the room?
Ice is good.
Because he takes it real serious.
Ice is great.
Yeah.
Ice is good. I don't really remember if Berg was good or not.
Are you a good teammate in that scenario, or are you
I
just
bet you're like super intense and just like horrible.
I'm intense. I work well with others when there's a common goal.
Or are you loud and wrong?
No.
Joe delegates? Yeah.
No.
Oh, really?
No, Joe is on his own thing, and it's like you have to keep up with him, and he's yelling at people.
It's so not like that. Joe's not like that.
What are you doing tomorrow?
We're going to
Potting.
escape
Are
the
we
room.
going to escape the room?
I'm potting tomorrow.
Oh my
the only
God.
day of my life is a fucking pod.
No.
Yeah.
and love and hip hop apparently.
And loving hip hop.
Yeah.
Here and there.
I'm glad that didn't define you. You know? There's so many things that really, you could have been known
Joe's
for.
face right now.
I know.
'Cause that's back to, it did define me for some people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
depending
certainly.
on-
But you worked to make that not your defining
Yeah, well,
part of your
that-
career.
Yeah, get out of here. What are you saying? I don't even understand this foolishness.
Have you met Earl?
Earl Sweatshirt?
Yeah.
Sure, I have at some point.
Have you talked about
We haven't talked. No,
Oh, well, okay.
And we definitely didn't talk about the skit.
the betrayal?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I fuck with Earl.
What are some things that you've done with artists in like not escape the room, but like something that's been done off camera for fun that nobody knows about?
I don't think that exists.
Because like I wanted.
Monopoly. But
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Monopoly.
that's something
played
we've
that on
discussed
camera.
before. Yeah.
Spades, but I've played that on camera.
But I mean, like that's on camera, but it's not like for a thing, right? It's not like a set.
No.
Yeah, so I'm saying like something like that, where it's just like
Oh, like you've gone skydiving, or you've ridden horses, or you've like
No, dude, I never.
because that by the way would be pretty great.
I never hung out
if you,
with the rappers much.
No, if you did a pull up like on horses or something like that,
ooh.
that'd be great.
I'm not opposed to that. I have to beat Elliot to the punch. Shit, he might be on a horse next.
Yeah.
It's car test season 5, the horse test.
Yeah, horsepower.
Yeah,
Yeah, horsepower. See?
Yeah.
we should take this to GQ.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, exactly. Joe,
GQ. Like, honestly, Elliot, you want hip hop ass me to come in here and try to acquiesce for GQ? You want me to help them understand our culture in this fucking meeting?
Have you
Get
seen
outta
Joe
here.
Budden's fits?
You know what? It's only the guys that clown me, Only men. I enjoy that too. The men think I am the worst dressed character to walk the face of the earth.
But women are really into the wife beater and loose sweatpants.
No, women like my style of dress today somehow.
Because you
funny.
can tell how happy you are by the size of your hat.
No, fuck off.
Joe, having known you for 12 years or so, it is a joy to see how happy you are. It is.
Oh man,
It
you
is.
guys.
No, it is really awesome to see how your career has elevated, how it has kept moving forward. And as fellow 300 episode podcasters, we tip our Joe Budden size hats to you, and we look forward to what comes next.
I appreciate that, man. I was sitting here this whole time and I'm listening to you guys. I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I'm not as silly as I used to be. Like all this stone-faced serious business bullshit.
You did say before we started recording, you're like, I don't want to talk. I was listening to the podcast that we did whenever that was, like 4 years ago or so, and there's one of my favorite clips of all time, which is...
Yeah, when you went to the hookah bar with a bunch of friends and you went up to the DJ and you requested Thong Song.
No, it was...
And then they started playing your song and you were like, now I look like I have requested.
Yeah, oh my god, it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing.
It's one of the greatest stories ever.
Yeah. I always get myself in those types of moments. It's like, what the fuck are you doing right now?
Thanks so much, Joe.
No,
What?
thanks so much, my ass.
What?
The hell's going on with you guys?
Oh, everything's good.
Tell me about the bigger aspirations.
No, we can't tell that on mic.
Ah, boo.
All I'm saying is we're meeting with GQ tomorrow. Shouts
We
to
need you to
Elliot.
come through.
Yeah. Come through and ruin the meeting for
That's
us.
right. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this new episode of A Waste Time with It's Real. If people want to find out more about us, I'm Eric. That's Jeff. Together, we are It's The Real. No apostrophe, no spaces.
By the way, I don't care if after 300 episodes you can't tell us apart. I really don't. Stop telling me.
If people want to find out more about this podcast, that's 300 episodes deep. It's called A Waste of Time with It's The Real. Jeff, people want to find out more about what's going on with us. Where can they go?
You can always go to ItsTheReal.com, ItsTheReal.com. You can also find us on all streaming platforms. I'm talking about Spotify, Apple, Acast, Overcast, CastBox, the whole cast. You can also find us on Twitter at ItsTheReal, Instagram at ItsTheReal.
Oh, YouTube, It's The Real.
YouTube, It's The Real.
Yeah.
We've got some videos that we're hopefully going to be doing this year. We've got a few that we put up last year with Cameron,
Go
Rick
check them
Ross,
out. Press
Cheesy,
play. They're fun.
our Rockefeller reunion.
Jeff, this is the part of the podcast where we like to shout people out. And I said, if you want a shout out on our 300th episode of the podcast, reply to this and let us know your absolute favorite episode of A Waste of Time with It's The Real, and we are going to go through your answers right now.
Shout out to our man in London town, Abu Calves, Daniel David, who said Jin's episode.
Shout out to some black guy, and his @name is one that I cannot say in good conscience.
Yeah, it's that dude, Effie. He DM'd us after the last time we said we couldn't say his name. He was like, I'm so sorry.
But for this, he is a huge fan of the Mac Miller episode.
Our Mizzle said either the episode with Kaz or Parks.
Real CBG says the Little Brother episode, second is Fonte, third is Bun B.
Michael, I am HBY, who we met in LA a million years ago.
Yep.
Said congrats on making it to 300 episodes. I think the Rockefeller reunion episode was phenomenal, but then you've got so many other great episodes like Rick Ross, Tuxedo, Sycamore, Johnny Shipes, The Locks.
Shout out to Lalo Guzman, Lalo3000, who said Ari Lennox, Mac Miller, and Alchemist.
Team Money Sig said they're all dope in their own way. What's your favorite AKA? What was yours?
Oh man, mine would probably be the Baggage Handler, aka Catch Case.
Mine would be Gimme Little Head, aka
Zika virus.
Zika virus.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jay Watson, JW, the dude, who said Jesus Nice, and a close second, the Kid Mero.
Greg Mayo Music.
That's our guy. Shout out to Greg Mayo, first and foremost, for doing the theme music to this, which is from our song, Suns Out, Guns Out, featuring Freeway.
What is your rap, Samson? I can't flop, my beer strong, I can't stop. Like tank tops, I bear arms, used to set up shop on back blocks with crack rock. Now I bring fury to laptops with rap songs. Neil Armstrong, all bars out of space. Our arms are strong, your arms out of shape. Y'all lightweight, I'm heavyweighted. I'm like Christmas, I'm celebrated in every state. That's right. When we come out, the girlies wanna come, cause the dough never run out. Unlimited bars, yeah, the flow never run out. When I pull a gun out, y'all better run out. I'm a rap star with the heat out. Might sleep with your girl, but never eat out. Summertime, no doubt, arms always be out. Team early just murdered the track, now we out.
He said Dan Rosenthal, hands down.
Oh, a little insider trading there.
Yeah, because he's actually on the episode.
Shout out to I Am Denny Blanco, that's Denny Talks, who said Cameron was informative, educational, and funny.
Chris Culler said episode number 146 with The Locks.
Pragmatic says the biggest boss, Ricky Rose.
County Trill from Baltimore said definitely number 152 with Upscale Vandal. That is our guy.
How about John Fry, the podcast guy, who says, honestly, yours, which is episode 200. It was incredible to hear how you were able to build It's The Real. Shout out to John Fry.
Stess the MC. I want to say his name correctly because I fucked it up last time.
I'm going to take out the music.
Stess the MC, not Stress the MC.
One more time.
Stess the MC. He said anything with Jim Jones, and I'm Stess the MC, not Stress, no R, LMAO. I fucked it up last time. His name is Stess.
All right, shout out to our guy Ben out there in Los Angeles, Ben Real versus the World. He says, I love all Ravy B episodes. Big fan of Ravy B. She really good at photo shooting, 10 out of 10 and 5 stars. Ben, of course, works with Ravy. They travel together with documenting Beyonce and Jay-Z.
When is our Ivy Park thing coming through?
Jeff, something's messed up in the mail.
Yeah. Robbie Digital, the shoe expert.
That's right. Shout out to Robert Digital.
Said, my favorite was Beyonce's publicist.
That's right.
Yvette Noel Shore.
Shout out to Trav Dave, who might have the most shout outs of all time.
Yes. O-H-I-O.
His favorite episode of all time is 299 with Riggs. But his most favorite, so...
Yeah, I'm confused by more favorite than his favorite.
Is the one with our mom, episode 250.
Odd_J said, please tell me y'all got Chief Keef for the 300th episode. Okay, here's the thing. I actually reached out.
But
it didn't happen.
Shout out to Yoan B5, who says Styles P is his favorite episode.
One Fucked Up Mind. 200, I believe, the episode where you guys were interviewed by Naomi Zeichner.
Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to JetLife0345, who said the Cameron interview. After that episode, I too don't believe in dinosaurs. Is that our legacy, Jeff?
That is the worst legacy. Wave Digger 1 said, your Guapdad 4000 episode has to be one of the most entertaining interviews I've ever listened to. You guys are dope. Big ups. Can't wait until, and this is me talking now.
Yes.
I cannot wait until we get Guapdad back.
Yes. Shout out to The Real Raid H, who says Rich Kleiman is his favorite episode.
The Big Homie said the Rockefeller episode is legendary.
It actually is.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Golden Child, Son XA, who says any with the JVP boys, a.k.a. the Kings, a.k.a. Joe Budden, Rory, Maul, and Parks.
I bet that he's going to like this episode. But he would have liked it more if it was watching 300 with the two dudes and two black dudes. JPN Inc. 1 said Clark Kent and Eve.
From Dreamville.
Those are both great episodes.
Shout out to Brandon Irick, who says Jeezy hands down.
3188 said the Return of Jinx episode had some great conversations.
Also, a fan of Jinx is our guy Cal over there from Complex.
Jonathan Davila.
Yeah.
From Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Somewhere out there.
I don't know. We did the longest drop for him.
Yes.
Said definitely the Rick Ross one and Chase B.
Shout out to Daryl C. Murphy, a big proponent of A Waste of Time with It's The Real, who's a fan of The Locks, where Styles said he threw a chair at Puff Daddy.
Hen Season said, I don't know my favorite exactly, but for whatever reason, I've played back Rory's episode Mad Time.
Shout out to our girl Shan Star
out in Australia.
That's right, who's a fan of, ready for this, Ravy B, Cameron, Drika, Jim Jones, Wiz Khalifa, Rex Arrow, Mac Miller, John Monopoly, Rembert, too many to choose from.
Smokin' Aces LTL said, I know it's going to be the obvious answer by many, but that Rockefeller episode is just so damn good.
Shout out to Cinema Sai, who says the first Fonte episode.
Stop it, guy, said Westside Gun.
How about Humor Hydera Bad, who said the one with Maul from the Joe Budden Podcast is his favorite episode. Love from India.
Dolnenzo said the Sycamore episode, the first one I heard too. So I think that's very early on. It's like
that is early on. Shout out to Steven from New Jersey, our guy who said, yo, shout out to making it 300 episodes. This is amazing. Damn. Favorite of all time is tough, but favorite in recent times would be Jeezy.
Shank Potamus from California, I want to say. Nasty Nissa said Cardi B.
Sean Lib 401 says most definitely Westside Gun. So much free game in that episode. Sending love from Rhode Island and Miami.
Dixon Bros, our brubs from across the water, said the Johnny Nunez episode is a favorite and super inspiring.
How about Mensa the DJ, who says Kid Mero?
And he put it in caps, which means that it's real.
That's right.
Mikel Obi said too many. The Jorge Peniche is my most recent favorite. He must be from not in America because he said favorite with a U. And also Jorge Peniche is in town this week, so we're going to hang out with him.
How about Soup Soprano, who said most definitely the episode with Westside Gun?
Jelani Carter said JoJo, Upscale Vandal, Jinx, Joe Freshgoods, Rory, and Shomi Patwari.
Shout out to Jelani Carter.
Now, Shomi wasn't actually on here, but we do know him, and so shout out to him.
Mr. Urban Sports says his favorite episode is the Jeezy one.
A Humble B said both of Ari Lennox's episodes. I love Ari.
El Victor says Action Bronson and Westside Gun. That's for all our wrestleheads out there.
You mean me?
That's for you, Jeff.
Just Call Me Flo said the Rockefeller Live pod was a classic. I agree.
Gary Malt, who is a relatively new listener, says he hasn't had the chance to dip into the archives too much, but favorites of the recent pods are Little Brother and West Side Gun.
Good Music Golden said mine was probably the Isaiah Rashad episode. That's a really great one, and one of our biggest from whatever year that was.
Crazy. Shout out to Trifecta, who says the Cardi episode. Whenever I introduce your show to somebody who's not hip, I send them to the Cardi episode. Great work there.
D. Reina said favorite moment was when A-Track was telling the story of when Cameron was asking what fiduciary meant, which is an incredible story.
Yes.
His favorite episode is with Lil Brother.
Shout out to Z Chillin, whose favorite episode is episode number 146 with The Locks.
MT the Artist said the Kid Mero episode is one of my favorites for sure.
Short T318 says Cardo Got Wings, where his height was exposed.
Foxworth Danny, I'm going to guess his name is Danny Foxworth, said Prime was his favorite episode. That's with Royce the 5'9" and DJ Premier. DJ Premier is the only person who walked into our apartment and then locked the door behind him on some real
the
Brooklyn
top lock,
shit.
yeah. Louis the Prophet says Ibrahim from Dreamville is his favorite episode.
I Wear the Cape said the one with Joe Budden.
Wait.
Not this one.
Okay, got it.
It was such a different time for him, and one of the first good guest appearances he did where he didn't feel like he had to walk out a bunch of crying faces.
The Wiseman Show says New Year's Day 2018, episode number 163, Remembering Combat Jack. Rest in peace to the GOAT.
Jay Monkey, who I believe is from Europe, said been listening pretty much since the beginning and still finally remember the DJ Clark Kent episode, many gems on the early rock days, and great mood in that whole conversation.
Shout out to Renee Vogel Jr., whose favorite episode is with Kevin Gates.
Funny Julius just sent a gif of Chief Keef, and I feel like we really should have gotten Chief Keef for this episode. I'm sorry to Joe Budden.
J4 King, the Rap Vibes Cartel, says, to be honest, my favorite episode got to be number 133
with Maul,
but I love the Rick Ross episode as well, so it's tough for him.
Astronaut Jones said the Taxstone episode, and I do want to say Taxstone has now been in prison for 2 years, this Martin Luther King Day, so if you can write a letter to him, I'm going to be posting the address on Twitter today.
All right, shout out to Ain't No Jigga, Jay-Z himself, who said the Rockefeller one.
Madera Mismo said Gerard Carmichael, John Legend, and both Ari Lennox episodes.
How about Big Chief Patty Mahomes' Stan account, that's also known as A_Breezy, who says it will always be Carter Got Wings and trying to figure out where he's really from and how tall he really is.
One Fucked Up Mind is back. He said, although it's a different podcast, honorable mention to the mid-90s episode of Two Jews and Two Black Jews. A lot of people don't know this. We almost watched it with Jonah Hill.
This is true. Life of Santino, Gantino, Sarcia says Taxstone Combat Jack, the dude that brought KanyeWest.com, which is our guy Nabil. Sycamore and Lenny S. were his favorite episodes.
Jeez Louise, that's Cousin Lou.
Yeah.
Said Mama Real episode was dope. That's 250.
Official CQ says Guapdad 4000 giving advice. That was a very, very funny episode.
OG Carlton 77 said the episode with Cousin Stiz.
Rebel Rome says easily both Guapdad episodes were his favorite.
Oh, Juarez. Oh, Orlando Juarez.
Yes.
So the Joe Freshgoods episode, super inspirational. The David Jacoby episode is mad underrated, and the Meg Thee Stallion episode are all favorites.
Hey Sosa, Cindy Chase says, Drika Gates episode, she is a special type of woman. I see why Kevin Gates met her and knew he had to keep her. 100, very inspirational.
Alex Deo said Dallas Martin, P.S. get Baby Yoda on the podcast. All right.
Yeah, sure. Shout out to Hovain, who said his favorite episode, his own. LOL.
Brenzel W. said Cardo is probably my favorite of all time, but it's tough because there are so many good ones.
And shout out to our guy, John Muru, who says, Maul from the Joe Budden Podcast. I thought Ebe Hamad was interesting. And Chuck English, congrats on the 300th. Jeff, congrats to you.
Congrats to me.
And as always, guys, not for real, for real.
Sure.
We'll see you guys next week.